Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. The holidays are over, but there's still a way to give yourself a personal holiday. Book a cabin in the Smokies for January or February. Enjoy the attractions, the restaurants, the shopping without all the traffic. Parkside Cabin Rentals has a ton of options for you. Check them out, parksidecabinrentals.com. You can see all their layouts right on the website. Great time to get to the Smoky Mountains. All right, want to welcome in VFL Daniel Hood. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
I called you specifically because I knew you're a guy who you lasted through 3 coaches at UT, and you went to bowl games with 2 of them.
Yeah.
As a redshirt freshman, you went on the bowl trip to the Chick-fil-A game under Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and put up the stats here. Jeremy Pruitt, it's his first bowl game as a head coach. Now, he's been to a lot as an assistant coach. He's seen how different guys have done it. Tom Allen in Indiana, it's his second bowl game as head coach. He lost the Foster Farms Bowl. Everyone loves the Foster Farms Bowl. Lost that one, I think, in 2016. But your bowl experience in 2009 with Lane Kiffin, you get whipped by Virginia Tech. It wasn't even close. In 2010, a game where Tennessee, snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, if you will, under Derek Dooley. That's the game that a lot of people thought was won, and then a flag and all this other stuff comes out. But talk to me about the approach between those two coaches.
Right.
Because different coaches handle it different ways, and then I want to steer it back to how you think Jeremy Pruitt's going to handle it. But Kiffin and Dooley, one year you're close and almost win it, one year you're hammered. Was there a difference in the preparation?
I think you mentioned it right there in being hammered.
Hammered was key.
We under Kiffin, I'm just being honest. The reason we lost the Virginia Tech game was we had partied a lot in Atlanta. We had a great time in Atlanta. It's one of those things that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and definitely the most fun bowl experience, except for the football game.
That's not a surprise. Lane Kiffin didn't have a lot of tight rein on the team.
Yeah. And Kiffin wanted us to have a good time. He wanted you to do it in Atlanta, to have those memories, and to really experience Atlanta and that part of life with your teammates. But you got to be responsible about it too. That's one side of it. Dooley, on the other hand, I think gave us a pretty good bowl experience in terms of early in the week, typical. You've got a reasonable time around
curfew.
A curfew around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. Not 3 and 4 a.m., which is what it was with Kiffin. And so that gave us a chance to win the game. And then whenever we got into the game against Virginia Tech, all the alcohol and staying up, lack of sleep, we were tired. And, I mean, if you remember that game, Denarius Moore drops that wide open pass off of Sluggo, and once that hit, that was it. Game was over. But, Dooley on the other side, too, you got to take care of your players. We had a training camp in December, and we actually had some injuries that come out of it and things like that, whereas the team we were playing didn't do that. They actually took pads off, recovered, that type of stuff, and it gave North Carolina a more competitive edge against us.
Pruitt, before everyone went to Jacksonville, and they got down there yesterday, when they were back here, for the most part during December, the practices were based on fundamentals. It was kind of getting back to basics. But now they're getting down there. Again, this is his first time as a head coach. And, we saw what he looked like in his first season as a head coach. You had to learn stuff as you went along. He was a better coach this year than he was before. My guess is this might not be his best bowl showing because he's going to be learning some stuff this week.
Right.
How do you think he's going to approach it? Do you expect him? I mean, again, it's kind of what has he seen under Mark Richt, Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban? Do you think he's a guy that's going to take it as an all business? Do you think he's going to be a guy who's going to give him a little bit of freedom this week? How do you see him handling it?
I see Pruitt as he's been a player's coach this year, and so I think he's going to carry that into it. How much freedom does he give the guys outside of the structured events of where they're going, for their little bingo games or whatever, food eating contests? I don't see a lot of that happening just because I don't think that's his personality. If the question I ask is what does Jeremy Pruitt do for fun, there's probably not much other than football in that. And so I think he'll approach it that way, but he'll give him, a little flexibility within that. Like Dooley did. We could go anywhere we wanted to in the Opryland Hotel after night 1 or 2. Then after that, it's like you're stuck in the hotel. And then at that point, you have a chance to focus on football and get the win. And I think he values the win more than the experience.
It'll be interesting to see how he handles it because different coaches, and that's the thing. Now, in the Kiffin-Dooley situation, I mean, Kiffin let it go lackadaisical and it bit him. But there have been plenty of coaches down through the years who have taken more of this is a reward approach and
Yeah.
still won bowl games. Other coaches have been very businesslike and they've won bowl games. So there's no set answer, but it will be interesting to see what Jeremy Pruitt's style is this week and if that style changes in years moving ahead when they get to bowl games.
And I hope he keeps it fun because I can tell you this, like we became friends with the Virginia Tech guys when we were down in Atlanta, and it was miserable. Like it was a miserable bowl experience because they were locked in the hotel for 7 days in
Well,
Atlanta.
they had a miserable experience.
Frank Beamer kept them completely inside the entire. So it was football in a hotel room for 4 or 5 days, and I couldn't imagine being on a team like that as well. I
But
wouldn't
they
know.
won the game.
Nobody remembers that one.
All right, very good. When we come back, Daniel will be joining us a little bit later for much more. When we come back, though, let's take a look at the two offenses. We'll talk about the quarterback advantage, and we'll also talk about Jawan Jennings and his situation, what to expect from him in one half of football on Thursday. Come on back on the Sports Source.